I got King of Games again, of course. I did some Bakura deck games, but the amount of Cyber Angels is actually like really annoying. So I mostly played Red Eyes. Like, for the Bakura deck, if you lose your magical merchant, or basically like your first card you set to a Dakini effect, it really sucks versus them. Still got a decent amount of games versus other decks though. So like, I've been messing around with the boss monster in the deck, and I am liking to stick with a dark monster just because it synergizes with Veil of Darkness. Oops. There we go. See, I think I like Toon Barrel Dragon the most. Alright, so they pretty much always open up with Ancient Gear Beast the first turn, so that's pretty annoying. Of course, we always chain Skull Lair to that, and we don't want our magical merchant to get negated. And he really wanted to negate it, so he didn't attack. Didn't really matter though. So here I had a... Oops. At this point I had a Blackluster Soldier in the deck. He's pretty cool. Like, you'll always have stuff in your banished zone, and when you use Chaos Zone to revive him, you could banish one of their cards. And of course he has good stats, so he's definitely not that bad. And Light isn't that bad because, well, we can use Dark Flare to banish him. What did I do? Oh yeah! Yeah, I made a mistake there. I banished the light monster, and it made it so my Doomsday was weaker than I wanted it to be. That was fine though, like I already had Chaos Zone and stuff. So this guy started getting desperate for some reason and sent out Sphere Karibo. Well, that's a super free kill with my Skull there. So he just loses out hard on that trade. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I also like to keep almost everything dark in this deck. Just so Doomsday, as soon as he hits the field with 4 things in the grave plus a Chaos Zone, like he can start to put in a lot of work. And he just gave up. Like, that duel was over for a really long time there. Like, as soon as I killed his Ancient Gear Beast, it was pretty much over at that point. Usually is versus Crowler. Like, he kills one big monster and then he'll usually start to struggle at that point. At least with this deck. Like, one of the big things about Crowler's deck is he runs rare Metalmorph, and we don't actually use any spells that target. So that's bad for him. So here we definitely don't want Hydrogeddon just swarming the field, for free at least. So of course we stopped that. I decided to just start stalling a bit this duel. Why not play it just a little bit safe? Like, this deck can definitely afford to. Get back a Karibo. It's pretty nice. That's why I like to run Trance Fiend. Of course, I'm always trying to get a Karibo plus at least one strong monster into my Banish Zone, so my Chaos Zone and Trance Fiend have good targets to choose. To see, I banished that Sphere Karibo again. Let's see. Where's the cost? Dang, it doesn't say it for... okay. So you can see I have Trance Fiend. Like, banishing Trance Fiend's not that bad. Like, getting to revive him and then getting something back from Banish Zone is decent. So here he makes a desperate play to try to end the game, but I had a Karibo return to my hand, so he had like no chance of that. And that puts 4 into my grave, and now I have 10 Chaos Zone counters. And I already have 9 in there. So as usual, we don't care about running into a mirror wall with our Doomsday. As long as we have enough life points for it. I think I played a little too defensively with Dark Necrofear, but I didn't really... It's not like I need to rush. I've got the outstanding dog, so I can stall as long as I want. Unless they like run mill and have the blue guy. So you is definitely done at that point. I think my favorite duels with this deck are when I start out with maybe like 2 Karibo, Magical Merchant, and just like quickly get like a Skull Air, Chaos Zone plus 4 into the grave, and start doing stuff super early with Doomsday. Because once you have 4 in the grave plus Skull Air plus Chaos Zone plus Doomsday, you can start doing almost anything. And of course it's an Ancient Gear Beast start as usual. And he's being super redundant and running Gravity Blaster. The Gravity Blaster is a cool card, but it's like this card already negates effects. You're way better off with something like Rare Metal Morph. And he probably is still running some Rare Metal Morphs. So if he activates Rare Metal Morph, it's gonna negate his own card. So it's anti-synergy. He actually runs Karibos. Running random Karibos is definitely good in pretty much any deck. I'd recommend it. Yeah, as we can see, he's running Rare Metal Morph. So he negates Necrofear's effect. That sucks. But he's also negating his own Rare Metal Morph. Or no, his own Gravity Blaster. So he can't even gain more. Alright, here I definitely need a Skull Lair. So I'm gonna start Veil of Darknessing. And as long as I don't get a light monster, I'm good. Alright, so it looks pretty bad, but that can't be pinned. We place the Karibo because when it dies we can use Fiend Farewell. And there he goes again, just negating his own effects. So of course we get rid of his biggest monster. Then we get rid of his other monster. And he only has 1 card on the field. We have 13 in the Banish Zone. So our Doomsday is powerful. Here I thought about like going all out and trying to get like the biggest monster I could, but I'm like, eh, whatever. It's already over. No reason to BM him. So as long as he can survive, like, this deck scales pretty much the best out of any into the late game. And its early game really isn't that bad or unsafe. I mean, like, you have 6 Kribos, you have 3 Trance Fiends that can bring them back. I did consider adding in some Dimensional Alchemist, because he can also return some Kribo, but I don't really need it. So this starting hand was terrible. You don't want to have Doomsday as your first thing dead. You want banished cards before Trance Fiend is out here. Outstanding Dog, you... like, early on he really sucks because you really need to start building your grave early. Drawing this Dark Mimic fixes it pretty well. It made it so I didn't have to waste my Trance Fiend. And then I also drew a Magical Merchant next, which is always really nice. And this guy only has 1 monster, so it's too bad for him. And for some reason he's relinquished. That's pretty strange. Ritual Cage? Alright, so he tributes the Sonic Bird. Or, yeah, Sonic Bird. Gets out relinquished. Alright, so at this point, who do you think he's going to absorb? He has a Ritual Cage. You take no battle damage from attacks involving ritual monster you control. Cannot be targeted by or destroyed by monster effects. So Necrofear can't steal him. Wait, let's read the relinquished really quick. This card's attack and defense becomes equal. Okay. Any battle damage you take from battles involving this card inflicts equal effect damage to your opponent. So when I saw this card I was thinking, oh, maybe he can absorb my face down and attack into this and deal 2,800 to me. But now that I read that, it feels like it wouldn't be able to function like that. I don't think either of us would take damage, actually. So he made the normal play, but like it doesn't make sense to, like, I don't know. It really doesn't make sense to run this card with Relinquished. One of the biggest parts of Relinquished is actually getting a life point lead and then using your, like, the actual effect damage part of Relinquished to kill your enemy, force a quicker end. So I get a Mimic back. Definitely not a bad option at this point. Just thin my deck faster and keep a card advantage. So there I don't want to target Relinquished because I can't with Necrofear. Just because of that card. So that's kind of crazy. I got to kill his Relinquished with a 100 attack monster. That was pretty unexpected. So I finally got a Skull Lair, so he can't do anything. That actually took forever to get a Skull Lair, which completely counters his deck. Well, at least the Relinquished part of it. So here I start getting some counters onto my Chaos Zone. Of course, I only needed 4, but by killing all those 1-stars, I added 900 more attack to him. So he's definitely done for at that point. There's no way Relinquished comes back against a Skull Lair deck. I just kill his boss monster with 1, by removing 1 monster from the grave. So it's super ridiculously cost efficient. He has to spend like 3 cards just to get his boss monster out. So he loses all 3 of those just for me removing 1 dead monster. Alright, He tries to force an insect search off, and I do search it. But magical merchants in my deck, so it counters that. So versus Weevil, he can be running Amazonas, so keeping some of these plain Karibo, or even Sphere Karibo, could be really good. But it felt like I wasn't gonna actually need them. So I'm just going for as big of a mill as possible. Keeping Dark Flare there would have been pretty good. But I really want a Skull there plus Chaos Zone if possible. It definitely rushes the match along the best. Alright, so my mill ended as a Parasite got put onto the top of my deck. But I had an outstanding dog in my hand, so I can send him out. And at the end of my opponent's turn, I just destroy him myself and it shuffles my deck. So I don't even have to draw that stupid Parasite. I was hoping to get rid of the Parasite using Magical Merchant. I wasn't that lucky though. At least not yet. So I really don't care if I get down to 0 cards, because my outstanding dog will just prevent me from decking out. And there goes his Parasite. And my outstanding dog refreshes my deck. So as long as I have a Chaos Zone plus Skull Lair, I'll always be able to just pretty much infinitely refresh my grave and keep summoning new monsters. So I draw the dog, kill the dog with Skull Lair, and then continue on with my turn. And you never deck out. Before this duel, I actually considered replacing the dog because he didn't actually get me any value most duels. I guess he is nice to have though. Alright, so Toon Barrel can't attack his first turn, so I leave him in defense. But I also just straight up destroy him to counter Wall of Disruption. That second Wall of Disruption though, he chained it to my Skull Lair, so he gets the 1600 reduction for the second one. But the first one, he only got 800 off because the Toon Barrel leaves the field before that first one gets to. Of course, defense mode again. Try killing some back row. Get it again. All it did was just speed it up by like a turn or two, maybe. Definitely like Toon Barrel in this deck, but it's not mandatory. You could run any type. It just could potentially set you back by one card, or it could ruin one Dark Veil like self-milling, and that could be a pretty big deal. Could be kind of annoying. But cards like Tyrant Dragon could be pretty cool in the deck. Yeah, that's all for now.